Good morning, everyone. Good evening, good afternoon, wherever you may be in the world. Hello. Good morrow. How you guys doing? What's up? Your friendly neighborhood ZBrush artist here, Brendon Isaiah Bengtson, coming straight to you through your airwaves of Wi-Fi to bring you Pixelogic ZBrush. Alright, enough of that googly goggly. What's up? How's everybody doing? I have to speak a little bit quietly on this round because my daughter wants to wake up super early. So I'm going to try to be nice and quiet. I don't know how that's going to work, but we'll see. We'll figure it out as we go. Morning, Fernando. Alright, this is where we left off. This is the current project that we're kind of jamming away on. And actually, you know what? These guys, let's make those the same. Go MRGB, we do fill object, and then we go back. There we go, that feels a little bit better. Alright. If you are just tuning into this particular project for the first time, I've done pretty much most of this work. I actually moved my camera. I'm used to looking over here, but you guys are over here now. It's looking to be a little bit weird. So if I go like this, it's because I think I'm looking at you, but my camera's moved now, so it's actually over here. But yeah, if if you want to go back and watch some of the previous stuff, you can go back to ZBrushLive.com and find my artist page there, and I should have all the replays. And or you can go to the Pixelogic YouTube channel, and there's you can filter through all the amazing stuff there. And my past ones are there as well. But if you want to go directly to these previous ones and some of my other previous projects, ZBrushLive.com, and then just find my artist page, Brendon Isaiah Bengtson. I'm going to drink coffee right in your ears, though. All right. Today, so last time we went over how I did these chains. It's fairly quick and easy. It's just a curve brush, and then I used a plane to put back. Where is it? Here. A little trick I use for getting curve brushes in the correct spots is that I'll just use a temporary plane wherever I want the orientation to be, and then I can do transparency and then draw directly right on the plane, and I'll ignore everything else in the Pixelogic world there. So that's a little trick that I went over last time, which is really handy. So you can do things quick and easy in the third dimensions that way. So that's what we did there. I think today I'm going to work on this piece and maybe some more shoulder pieces here. See if we can start cooking in a little bit more detail in there. It's still technically in blockout stage for me. There's Gail. What's up, buddy? Thanks, dude. There's a whole another level of detail that I want to go into eventually. But I kind of want to get the overall look and feel down first, and then I'll dive into more details. Like especially in here, I want to get into more, yes, more. But now I want to work on these pieces and see if we can get at least the next level of details in there before we keep rolling. As for the skin texture, excuse me. this is actually a body scan that I picked up from 3D Scan Store. Um, I if you're going to be working in an environment where speed or any kind of previous pipeline is already laid, most of the time you're going to have base meshes to work from. So in this particular case, instead of starting from absolute scratch, I just grabbed a body scan and then positioned it into the place that I want it. And then I just did some like the black materials here. I just took it over to Painter really quick and did a paint over, and then just saved out a new texture and then brought it in and replaced the original texture that was on this guy. Girl, sorry. So that's how I got those textures on there. Again, it's just temporary. I once all this modeling and everything is done, I would go back and do those skin textures in Substance Painter. All right, this is the one I want to try to work on today. All right, let's. When I start something, a new direction for something, not the band, gross. Um, I typically will just duplicate the original. What's up, Siegel? How you doing? Now I use the term guys for a lot of things. It's, um, anyway, so I usually will just dupe it off and then send it all the way down to the bottom to live down here. What is this one? Oh, that's that one. Let's put that one in. I think it's wings. Where did I put that? Headdress dangles. That's where I put it. It's a good name for it, right? Headdress dangles. Cool. There we go. Yes. So that one is off now, and then this one is a duped one. So we can play to our heart's content. This one has subdivisions on it. Let's see what our geo is like. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete all the inside stuff. Just work on the outside. I feel like I can have a little bit more control. So let's delete higher. Let's hide everything. Yes, even the thickness, I'll delete it. All right, so now I'm just working on the outside, so I don't have to worry about thickness or any kind of weirdness where they're kind of like going to interpenetrate each other for the different sides. So I think I'm good, Siegel. How you been, dude? How you living? What? How you living? In living color. All right, let's do double. That's a little bit weird. I remember last time. So sometimes some things get a little bit mixed up. This is actually double, but this one is actually double for extract. That is not what I want. Let's get rid of that guy. Throw that guy over there. Throw that guy there. Okay, we'll do enable customize store config. Cool. All right, so now we got double. That's good. So I'm just going to let's go back to regular material because I don't like really sculpting on a matte cap. I like doing my sculpting on just the regular basic. I can just see things a little bit better, and it's what I'm used to. So there's that. I'm just gonna get rid of some of this guy. Ooh. man-made pie. So sometimes your smooth is not enough, and you want to keep the geo details, but you know, it's a little bit too high for your 100% Z intensity. The other thing that you can do is you can go to the brush, and there's actually more brushes kind of stuffed within this brush tab. So if you go to smooth, there's actually more smooth brushes in here. So I like using smooth stronger if I ever get to this point. So I'll bring in smooth stronger, and this just says, yeah, that's fine. So now my smooth brush is smooth stronger, which will give me a little more punch in there. And then you can go back, right? You have your regular smooth brush, which is right here, that you can go back to. So you can switch out your smooth brush. Which I didn't know that for the longest time. I think I learned that from Paul at one point. I was like, wait, what? There's more brushes? You guys did not tell us about? Do I think about work in real world scales in ZBrush? The only time I'm worried about scale in ZBrush is again, I don't really do any 3D printing, so I'm not worried about print scale. The only time I'm worried about scale is when I already have a world I'm trying to build to. So if your provided base mesh is already the correct size, then I always make sure to use the base mesh and then just bring the base mesh in here and then build on that. That typically will get you most of the way to where you need to be. Okay, I'm just going to flatten out some of this stuff here. Just so I can free up myself from a design point. And then sometimes I'll just use the clay brush to knock down some areas if I need to. Sorry if I'm talking super quiet. My daughter is deciding that she may want to wake up at 5:30 in the morning, so I'm trying to stay a little bit quiet. And not drink in your ear. You're welcome. Yeah, Baron. All right. Let's see. All right, so I think what I want to do is I want to create another layer on top of this and then have this layer be more of an underlayer. The underlayer. Sounds like a hideout. The bad guy hideout. We're in the underlayer. Back to the underlayer. So I got that going for me. I think maybe we'll just do something like this. Maybe we'll do some kind of cloth on the outside here. Might be kind of cool. Typically in video game pipeline, most of the stuff will already be worked out through a concept, but there's some scenarios where you need to kind of come up with the rest of the details, you know. So you have to be able to kind of practice filling in the holes, I guess. I can just move this afterwards. I'm not. It's fine. So this is, for me, this is kind of an exercise in more expanding on an idea. I think this is okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use group masked, which is polygroups group masked. So I'm just going to set a new polygroup to this so that I can split this off, split hidden. The nice thing is that because ZBrush's history is based on the subtool, I now have this new subtool, but I have the local history to this subtool, so that means I can just go back and undo that. I can keep this, and then now I have this. I do that typically quite a bit. From here, I usually do polish by groups, and this is in deformation, polish by groups. Come down to deformation, got polish by groups here, and that basically starts kind of cleaning up those edges a little bit before I zero mesh it. So then we'll take this, go into here to zero mesh. I like 20 by 20 for this, and then I'll just start stepping down by half. So do that. Maybe one more time. We'll do polish by groups. One more time. And actually, this is one of the ways that I can create a low res mesh for baking, right? So if I know that this is going to be the low res, I may take it all the way down to something, maybe even one more. Just something like that. And then subdivide it and then do my details on that, and then I'm able to bake down on it. But in this particular case, I'll leave it about here. Just because I want to get a nice clean line through there. And that's why when I block it out in the mask, I'm not too worried about the edges, because this process takes care of that really quickly. All right, let's see what that looks like. Now, of course, when you do polish by groups, it kind of pulls things in. So you're going to get lots of mesh intersection there, which is easy to fix. Easy peasy. All you have to do, you can just do, there's a couple ways you can do it. Let's clear the mask first. You can go to deformation again, and then you can do inflate. Maybe we just do this by 1. Right, and then that brings, basically what that does is it takes all the normals and pushes the mesh out based on each normal, which gets a pretty even push out, right? And then now I can come in here and do some adjustments if I need to. It's a pretty quick and easy way to kind of get a new mesh going. And it conforms to all the existing curves. That's what I really like about it. Okay. Now what we can do, or what actually we should do, is let's deflate that. Can we deflate that? Let's do -1. Perfect. And then what I want to do, because I want it to intersect, right? So now I'm going to add thickness to this. There's a couple ways I can do that. I can use extract. I can use edge loop, panel loops. I can do it that way, or I can just use. I like using the ZModeler brush because I can interactively choose the thickness, which I like way better. So I'm going to go in here, do QMesh polygroup ball, and then I can interactively choose whatever thickness that I want. So now I got a new piece. Oh yeah. I think before I do that though, I want to I want to change this. I'm not too hyped about the swoop up. I'm just going to change this real quick. Life Lover says, how did you do the Polypaint effect in washed makeup? I actually took it out to Substance Painter and painted it in Substance Painter, and then exported it back out and brought it back in to the texture map here. So I just rebaked out the. So I exported the low res mesh. I exported the already included pre textures that came with the base body. Imported those into Substance Painter. Painted a layer, this dark layer on top, and then baked out a new albedo map, and then just brought that back into the texture here. It's all meant to be temporary, just to get the basic idea of what I wanted to do here. The other way that you could actually do it is you could take and go into Polypaint and do Polypaint from texture. What that does is it takes a texture and bakes it down into your vertex paint. So you'll, depending on the amount of polys, the amount of vertexes in your model, it probably degrades some, yeah, especially in certain areas, right? If you have let's turn off colorize, not colorize, it's the texture map. If you have that's weird. Why does it have that? Let's change the. There we go. I didn't want it to be shiny. It's weird. Shiny's weird. Anyways, if you have a difference in vertex amount in specific areas, it may or may not be able to hold the exact data that is being baked down from the actual texture into the vertex paint. So more often than not, it's a degradation in the texture. So if you can work just with the texture on, then there's no loss of data. But I mean, either way, it's temporary in here, anyways. The thing I like about doing it in Substance Painter is that it's a little bit easier to work with layers. So I can affect the actual skin texture or not. Just really easy to kind of work in layers, and then just bake it back down to albedo map, bring it back in here. Dark Knight, what's up, dude? Yeah, I haven't been very active on my YouTube channel. I've been so crazy busy at work. Watched my anatomy video a couple years ago. That guy's good. But you know, I actually have been thinking about redoing those anatomy videos. I wasn't really happy with how it turned out, but you know, the ultimate idea is that it's a learning video. It's not necessarily a piece to make an amazing piece of art. It's more about teaching. So as long as you know you're able to learn some stuff, that's all I really care about. Yeah, those industry interviews were a lot of fun back in the day. I should do more of them. I should do more of them. I kind of miss those. All right, let's just bring that down a little bit. Those happy little Neck details. Yeah. Alright, so let's turn off symmetry, and then let's just pull this out to see where I like that thickness. So basically this thickness right now, if I started sculpting on this, is going to get me into a lot of trouble, because more often than not you're going to get this side pulling into this side. So typically what I like doing is I like setting the inside first, and then from there determining the overall thickness that I want this to be. And then what I'll do, so I don't start pulling this inside stuff, is that I'll just take this whole inside and just pull it way in like this. Right? So it still has the idea that it is that thick, but now I can sculpt on this, and I won't have to worry about the inside. You know what I mean? That's one of the ways that I do the stuffs sometimes. So now I can just divide this. I do want to, so when you're dividing, right? So you take it from here, right? You get the overall shape. You get it, you zero mesh it to kind of clean up the edges and everything. You do all of this work, but then when you divide it, you start getting this, right? So it's not maintaining the the edge that you want. So a lot of times what I'll do is I'll just turn off smooth, and then I'll divide it once. All right, that gives me this, and then maybe I'll turn smooth back on and see what that edge is going to give me. That actually feels a little bit better. Yeah. Let's see what our poly count is at. 638,000. That's good enough for now. And then I have enough detail that I can start doing that on. Cool. So I want to go and add kind of a lip on this. You see, I have kind of this these artifacts on here. What we could do is go into geometry and do clay polish real quick. Throw a quick clay polish on it. Where is it? Clay polish. A lot of times that will kind of give you, will clean up some of the surfaces. Sure, that looks good. Okay, so one of the other things that I could do is I want to add a lip to the top side and the bottom side. So what I could do is I could say I want this. Throw a mask on that, and then I can grow my mask a touch. No, that's not going to work. Actually, what I could do instead, so let's delete the higher. Actually, you know what, let's go back. Okay, let's go back to here. And then what I could do real quick is just add let's go into Z Modeler, and then we'll do QMesh Poly Loop, and then we'll add a little. Not that much. We'll see if this works. Actually, let's do this first. I actually want to do an inset first, so we'll do inset region poly loop, and then we'll do that. So so sometimes when you're doing something like this and it disappears on you, you could just zoom in a little bit more, and that typically will give you, just click once to do that. Okay, cool. And then now I'll do QMesh poly loop, and then we can say, actually, you know what? Let's do QMesh poly group, so I can do this one and this one at the same time. And then I'm going to hold down Shift to just bring this whole loop out. That's going to give me a nice border. All right, so now when I do divide, so we'll turn smooth off for the first divide, turn it back on. At least that can give me a nice base, even base for that. And then I can just sculpt on top of that. So Soul Hacker says Dynamesh is better than dividing. It all depends on what you're trying to do. So typically, if I want a nice controlled mesh to begin with, I'll do this method to start from, and then I can just go to town on this now. I can use Sculptors Pro. I can Dynamesh it if I want to, but typically, if you want to be a little bit more controlled, I would go with subdivisions and getting kind of this base set up first, and then the nice thing is, okay, so I have my base here, right? And then let's just go, let's duplicate it so we can save this guy, right? And then we can just go to town on this, right? So let's maybe go down to subdiv 4. Delete lower, delete higher. And then I can come in with some Sculptors Pro. Right? And then I can kind of up-res any of those areas that I want to. So typically kind of what works best for you. All right, so you can go back in and then re-Dynamesh stuff, or you can use Sculptors Pro. I basically will start out quite controlled just to get the base idea in, and then I may just kind of go to town because I don't want it to look like that type of mesh. I want it to look more organic, right? So maybe we'll come in, add a little bit more. Why aren't you? Are you doing anything? Not really. Let's make this. Sometimes Sculptors Pro is a little bit weird when you're trying to just affect the edge of something. So let's undo that. Maybe we'll add just a little bit in there, maybe? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. All right, so we'll go back to inflate. We'll turn that off. Maybe we'll turn the intensity up. I just want to add a little bit of thickness to this bottom here. Happy little thickness. So a lot of times I'll use kind of geode shapes like this to start from, just to get the base going. and then I'll sculpt the crap out of the top of it, just to kind of break up the monotony. What's gotten into me? Drugs, rock, and Hennessy. Start playing around with some designs now. Okay, maybe what we'll do is let's do a deformation, deformation. Let's try to inflate this by 1. Oh yeah, no problem. No problem. Alright. I'm just gonna jam here for a little bit just to see kind of fun stuff we can do. Happy to answer any more questions though, if you guys got them while we jam. Okay, I think I may just use extract for this one. Let's try it. Turn off double. Ooh, nope, not that one. I think I'm gonna do it my normal way here. So what we'll do is just really quickly we'll do group masked. We'll send that off. We'll do split hidden, undo that so we have that piece there still. And then I'm gonna grab this one. We'll do polish by groups. We'll do, yeah, that's all right. That curve around is fine, I think. So we'll do geo, zero mesh. We'll do half. We'll do polish by groups. The other thing you could do, I'm gonna do quite a lot, is if you have some stuff that you want to clean up like this, you could just use the slice curve and just use something like that, and then just, so what that does is it creates a nice that division line, so it divides up the geo, right? So you have a nice crisp line. Then you can just hide it, delete hidden, and then now you have a nice line. And if you're going to zero mesh it anyways, it'll take that into account. So that's a really, really good quick way to clean up an edge, especially when you're doing zero mesh already. Let's just do a quick inflate. Deformation, go to inflate. Let's do by 1.5. Okay, cool. That's fine. And then what we'll do is, I'll show you poly loops. So we'll go to Geo. So here's another way that you can add the thickness to it. So we go to Edge Loop, you do panel loops. We're going to go elevation of negative 100 because I want it to go back in. I don't want much bevel. I got maybe, and then one loop is fine. And then that's what it gives you. The only thing I don't like about panel loops is that when you have some kind of curvature, it doesn't really react well when you do, when you have something like this, when you have some kind of curvature to it. It works really well for stuff that has like a flat plane on it. Sorry, that is a flat plane. But I'm just going to sculpt over this anyway, so I'm not too worried about it. I want to have a little bit of thickness just to control this depth here. The rest of it I'm not too worried about. So then we can just keep Sculptors Pro on. And then we'll go to Clay Buildup. I still am on the Smooth Strong, so I actually want to change that back. So the way you can change it back is you either hold down Shift and click on this, click on your actual smooth brush, and then go back to smooth. Or what you can do is ZBrush is smart enough to know that your smooth brushes go into your smooth brush location. So I can literally just click on that. It doesn't replace my clay buildup, but it does replace the smooth brush. So if I hold down Shift, you can see that it changed back to the regular curve brush. So then maybe I'll bring that down a bit. Save it. Let's see if maybe we could just get a little something going here. Okay, so now that I'm back into kind of more the design phase and look dev side and a little bit more out of construction, I kind of want to take this guy and bring it back. Kind of want to add that thickness back to this. So I may go back in time on this particular, no. That's fine. What I'll do is I'll just do a quick panel loop on it. We'll do panel loops. One loop. Don't worry about, maybe polish a 1. Sure. Bevels, turn that down. Turn this to negative 100 because I want it to go in, and then we'll just see what that thickness looks like. Okay, maybe we'll add a couple loops in here to help with the curvature on that. See what that looks like. Anyway, at least we can play around and see the thickness here. As when we don't have anything in there, the look is a little off. So we'll just leave that on there for now. That's fine. Okay, let's clear that mask, and then maybe we'll just do, let's see what some designs say in here. I'm going to turn on ghosting because when you try to sculpt behind something, if it's on invisible in this manner, it'll stop, right? So that stroke will stop wherever it intersects with another subtool. However, if you have ghosting on, transparency, which is transform, transparency, and then you turn ghost transparent on, either way. Actually, that's not bad. I'm gonna work like that for a while. I like that a little bit better. Then your stroke won't end there. I don't. Oh, it will. Look at that. Uh-huh. That's why I keep it on. Forgot. So if you turn on Ghost, then you can go. It'll go through it like that. So that's important, right? So if you have ghosting off, it still picks up the subtool. So if I try to go through it like that, it won't. It will not work. So if you turn on ghosting, then it works fine. Tidbit of the day there. Really, did I not do? That's awesome. All right. Well, I don't really care too much about the geo, so I could just do mirror and weld to make up for the symmetry there. Let's do mirror and weld now. Okay. Let's turn on. Okay, now let's see kind of where this is heading. So once I start getting a little bit further into the look dev. What's up, Slug? How you doing, man? I'll these take a quick gander at what the material looks like when having it on. So maybe we'll go back to this mocap here. We'll do fill object. We'll take this one. We will fill object and then go back. Take this one. Fill object and then head back. All right, so now I can at least see kind of the direction it's going. Maybe what I'll do is, and now we'll leave those. That's fine. For now, until I'm not happy with them, I ended up doing it differently. Uh-oh, little one's up. Hello? Hello? You want to say hi to everybody? Oh, Dad, what is that on your face? Hi. Hi, little stinker. Yeah, we don't want to be up at 5:30 in the mornings. No, 5. 5 in the mornings. Yeah. What are you doing? What are you doing? Can you say hi? Hi. Hi. Hello. Dad, there's nobody there. Why am I waving at your monitors? I don't know. Oh, there you go. Hi. Hi. Can you say hi? Hello. I don't know, Dad. I don't know. You say hi? Hello. Hello. Ooh, 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 ooh. You don't want that. All right, buddy. Yeah, go back and see. You want to go back and see the doggies? Go hang out with mommy? All right, buddy. All right. Give me 1 second, guys. Alrighty. Yeah. Yeah. That's the whole work from home life right now, isn't it? Gotta love them. All right. Let's get back to the stuffs. Let's see what I want to do here. Actually, maybe what I want to do is let's turn that one off and let's turn this original one back on. See if I like that better. There we go. Then what I can do is for those designs, I could just push this back in. It's going to cover all that stuff up. And this is the time then now you just kind of get to play with stuff, which is kind of fun. Then I think what you could do is you could start playing with negative space as well, which is pretty cool. Let's grab the mask and then let's see if we can get some kind of pinch down here. Yeah, Sculptors is awesome for that, for sure. So turn on ghosting real quick to sculpt underneath that. So maybe we'll start just working on some design work in here. See what kind of fun stuff we can come up with. And then now that I have this other piece on top, I can kind of work around that. So sometimes what happens though is you get something like that where the back will kind of just fold in on itself. So sometimes when that happens, maybe I'll just use the dam standard. Start pulling some of that out. We can start breaking up this the silhouette of this a little bit more as well. Maybe we'll use the Sculptus Pro now. We'll just kind of, let's just do delete lower, that's fine. How long have I been working on this? I think I've probably put in maybe maybe around 10 hours now. It's really early on in this particular project. If you would like to go back and watch some of the earlier ones, you can do that. You go to ZBrushLive.com and then you find my artist page, Brendon Isaiah Bengtson. It'll have all of my past episodes on there. So you can find it there. Or if you'd like to, you feel more adventurous, you can go browse through the Pixelogic YouTube channel, which also has everybody's replays. So if you'd like to check out other artists that are also doing work on the Pixelogic channel, then that's where you would get it. That's where you could see all the cools. All the cool stuff. That's cool. Maybe we'll turn Sculptus Pro off for this. Let's see if we can just kind of get a little bit more surface detail in here. And, sometimes designs work and sometimes they don't. The only way you really know if it works is if you try it. So there's plenty of times when I'm doing work like this that I'll put in some time on it, and lots of other times when I'll be like, oh God, what the hell was I thinking? You know. But you don't know if you don't try it. That's the beauty of this type of instructional work, is that with live work you get to see things happen in real time. Um, that's really the power. The downside of tutorials is that you don't get to see the real time decision making. And how do you solve problems on the fly? Um, that's why when I'm doing my teaching and instruction sharing of the knowledges, um, I like I like doing live stuff because you really get a chance to see what it's like, and how decisions are made and how problems are fixed, kind of on the fly. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? To me, that's a little bit more powerful. Yeah, it takes a little bit more time to kind of find the gems, but the gems are aplenty. I don't really like that at all. Yeah, that thing's not working. Asgard, what's up, man? How you doing? Let's push this stuff back in just a little bit, just so that it's not poking through here. So, the only thing with this is, when you're trying something, you should fail early and fail often. That's the term. Fail early, fail often. Where's that? Oh, that's that piece. That's fine. We'll grab this one. I'll pull this guy back too. You don't know what the heck's going to work and what's not going to work if you don't try it. You know? I actually think that this whole thing can come up more. Might be better if it spans the whole. See what that feels like. Maybe this comes down this way more. It's going to cover up some of this design work, but hey, you know what? That's fine. Let's pull this out, pull that down. I like it better that way than thinner. Okay. All right, Gail. Yeah, man. Thanks for dropping by, dude. I hope things are going well for you. You're out there kicking as much ass as possible. Kicking all the butts. Take it easy, brother. later. This piece is really hurting. It's hurting. Maybe we'll just do that and we'll start over. How about we just start over on that guy? What is it doing on the other side? Oh. Oh. So maybe what I'll do is, let's give this enough geo to hold these guys here. So then we'll see what how inflate does with these. There we go. No, I think this part of the design here is not really moving in the direction that I like it to. So we'll see. Sometimes you just what I've found is that you know, don't give up on stuff too early. There's a lot of times when you start something, you're like, oh my god, that looks like crap. What am I doing with my life? You know, most things that you work on in the beginning looks like doo-doo anyways. So why not give it a chance? Give it a chance. Leave Brittany alone. Looks like the plague on DBD is Dead by Daylight. Is that what that? That what that is? Yes. Okay. Cool. I have not seen that particular character. That's much nicer. Yeah. Not quite as grossness. With the grossness. All right. Let's see if we can just kind of bring this piece up a little bit more here. See what we can do. What if instead these didn't come out, but they went in? Yeah, the change did take actually not quite as much time as you would think. Oh, nope, that one. Okay, let's see. Now we do -1. We'll put those in like that. Then maybe what we'll do. Maybe what we'll do is. Yeah, I'll show you. Anybody who got here not too long ago and has not been here from the beginning, I'll show you just the quick tricks that I came up with and that I use for placing chains like that. Um, maybe what this is. What's up, Ashen? How you doing, man? Um, it's actually fairly easy for these chains. I just used um, a curve brush that had that design on it. But what you do is you be smart about how you place things, right? Uh, do, 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 do. I just I use a plane to draw on, right? So then what I'll do is I'll position the plane where I want the curve to be, and then we'll just draw it on the plane. And then when I have that piece correct, then I'll just move the plane to the next orientation, and then do another one. And then I'll do like two or three like that, and then I'll dupe it, and then just rotate the piece. Really quick and easy way to get things moving in 3 dimensions. Thanks, Ashen. Appreciate it, man. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's what we're here for. So I think what I'm gonna do here is let's do curve tube. Let's turn this off. Radius, I want to bring that up. Come on, save it, thank you. And then maybe I want to bring that down to, say, 2. Let's click that back there. Let's bring this. Straight out of your best nightmare. Thanks, man. Uh, maybe what we'll just do is this is tied together, right? So maybe we'll try to get some kind of knot system hanging there. So let's try that. See if it works. So I'm gonna make one of these, and then I'll just dupe. Right. So I'm gonna have just a little bit left on there, and I'm gonna see if I can rotate this guy so I can get a little bit of this turning in. Get a little bit bigger brush for there. So a lot of times you get like this kinking happening. It's not too much to worry about. Just want this turn to be a little bit more realistic here. So this, when you're kind of moving around and things aren't quite as smooth as you'd like, you can just, when you're done, just grab one side and pull it, and it tends to kind of try to keep the overall curve and character of that curve, but it'll just kind of smooth out some of those areas that were a little wonky. It'll de-wonkify it, if I may. All right, so now I have this where it's kind of turning in, which is fine. That's exactly what I want. Yes, there's a smooth on the curve as well. Yes. What I found though of this smooth on the curve, so like when you're moving this, you can hold down Shift, and it'll smooth it. The problem is it smooths out any of this type of curve. I like giving it a little bit of character and leaving some of that in. Maybe we can something like that. That's fine. Okay, and then we'll do split unmask points. And then now we've got this that I can we'll just do big movements here. So it retains, yeah, something like that. Right, so then let's dupe that, rotate it. Characters for games, right? So how will you turn the chains into planes? Maybe I think is what you're going to say. Give me a hint, because I tried to do the same process with feathers and it didn't work. The baking was not good. Yeah, basically what I'm doing right now is I'm just kind of mapping out where I want and where I want the chains to live and the overall look dev of it. What I would do for production is I would go in and make a low res version of that, like super 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 low, and probably just on a flat plane. And then I would use probably I would use an alpha and use it as a texture projected onto the plane that so the plane maps this curvature, right? So you have one plane like this that has uh, this design stamped onto it like this, and then I would dupe that plane basically and turn it on a 90-degree angle, right? So now you have kind of that happening wherever you turn like this, you'll get some kind of 3 dimensions out of it. That's one way I would do it. I would try it that way first and see if it works. Um, and if that doesn't work, try something else. Mainly what I'm doing right now is just kind of getting the whole look and feel of it down, and then we'll probably jump into what does low res game version of chains look like. Is it a sheet? Maybe it's a sheet. Maybe this whole thing back here, this this one right here is just one sheet with alpha on it. Okay, so then let's take a look at this. We do have enough geo to push this. So what I'll do is see if I can get that up a little bit more. I don't want to press it too much because it's gonna squash the overall structure of it. So I don't want to press it too much. I want to make sure that it doesn't do any kind of weird snaky bits. So when I'm kind of moving it around like this, I want to be really really careful and not do too much to it. All right, so let's grab this one. Let's I could duplicate it, or I could just use the move. So if I hold down Shift, Control Alt, then I can create another version of it. I think that's a little bit easier way to go at the moment. And what it could do too is, if you have the same on every side, you may want to just mirror this to give a little bit more kind of breakup to the curve, right? So like this curve is the same as this curve, but it may not be exactly the same as this side. So if you mirror things around, you get a little bit more variation out of it. Okay. So then now let's see what that looks like with the matte cap on it. See how things look. So we'll do fill object. Grab this one, fill object. Go back, make sure we got everything okay. Does that feel? Does that feel correct? Not really. Feels like a tennis shoe. All right. Let's grab these guys. We'll do merge down. We'll set those together. So we'll do merge down. That's fine. And let's try something else. Let's try using the chains. So the chains, actually, you guys may have too. So if you want to brush, there's I think they included this in ZBrush 2020. I'm not sure. I was part of this beta testers group, so I don't know if it's just something that I have. But this insert omni chain. Oh, so what if we do that? Maybe she has the chains. Thanks, man. Or maybe it'd be cooler if they just go straight over. So one of the things that I've really been trying to work on lately, personally, is you know, when you're designing something, make it super dope, like right away. Like work on the overall picture right away, right? Don't wait until the end to make sure that you land the punch of the overall feeling. Like you want to land that punch right away, and that's something that I've been consciously trying to do with my own designs lately. Is to do something crazy, cool, and dynamic from the beginning, and then if you can nail the overall feeling and power of the design, then the rest is just kind of adding onto it and shining it, you know. Um, but it's kind of making sure that you have um, the awesomeness, or at least something cool to begin with. You know what I mean? Cool. I actually think that could work. Then we'll just do another one here. Okay, then maybe we'll do mirror like that. That's fine. And then we'll. Interesting, it snapped back. Huh. And we'll give it a little bit of a bow to it right here. Then we'll mirror it so that this one is different from this one. The orientation is a little bit different. And then you can twist these now. So if you click on it, hold down, and then you do sorry, no, 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 no. Click, no, not shift. Click. No, why are you doing that? That's weird. There we go. If you click, hold it down, and then hit Control and move back and forth. So I'm going to click, hold down Control, and then move left and right. You can actually change the orientation of it like that, which is cool. So what I basically don't want is I don't want this orientation and this orientation to match these. So I'm just going to, oops. I don't know did that, bro. Why'd you do that? That's weird. And then maybe I'll just rotate that one. So if I can't get it to work, right? So this is a good reason for showing, you know, live work, right? So like, okay, that one twisted fine, but whenever I try to twist this one, it grows shorter. So I I don't know why it's doing that. Maybe it's my brush size. I don't know. But what you could do is just finish it, finish him, and then you can just rotate this whole thing, right? And then maybe what you could do is add just a small deviation like that. And then what you could do, you just rotate this guy manually. Nothing's stopping you from doing that, right? So it's a different poly group. So if we use the move tool and then just do alt click, no, control click. Hey, there we go. No, come on now. Control click, control click. You're not doing it. All right, so that's not working. So what do you do next? You just hide the piece that you want. Right, so that's those pieces. So then maybe what I'll do is, right, I'll just grab this piece, and then from here we'll mask that. Let's clear the mask first. No, that was right. Okay. And then invert the mask. Right, now I have this guy. Then I can use this to go and rotate a little bit. Right, there's nothing stopping you from doing things manually. Maybe I want to go the other way. Maybe go this way. That's cool. I actually kind of like that. Okay, so then I feel like that's good. So what I'll do is, hello, hello, hello. Come on, man. What are you doing? Man, this guy's just not happy. Let me just hide those guys. Hide those. Hide those. Come on now. Hide those. Come on. Kill me, Smalls. I got all my pieces? Yes, I got all my pieces. Alright, so then what I'll do is I'll do split hidden, and then now I have that on a separate layer, which is fine. And what I want is I want this to be separate polygroups. So what I could do is we'll just go that, and we'll do group masked. Group masked. Wait. Yeah, group masked. Why are you not? Oh, okay, there we go. It is different. Group masked. Cool. Now each one of them has a different, which means that if I want to move one of them, I can. So if I do move tool, control click, then I can just choose that. Kind of move that guy around if I need. Right, and then just control click on that one. Control click. Okay, cool. Turn that off. Do this. Clear the mask. and then I'll go and apply the gold to it real quick. Just apply the gold. I go to my standard brush. My standard brush I typically use for assigning materials and color, just because I don't really want to mess with the default states of these other brushes. It just things get confusing and then it's weird. So I typically would just go to my standard brush because that's the one that I will use for applying alphas and different strokes and stuff like that. So I typically will just use that one. So we'll just do fill object, and then we'll go back to, there we go. That feels better than the little laces. And then what I can do, thanks Montecore. Monturator. I'm so bad at Twitch names. All right, so then now I can just kind of model right around this, right? Maybe we'll put this down to 2. Okay, 3. We'll do 3. And maybe we've got it pulling, right? You can pull some. Okay, this is gonna come up through here. I'm gonna turn on the transparent ghosting. So I want to be able to go right behind, sculpt right behind that piece. Otherwise, if I have it on, it'll do a weird thing where I'll have a little divot in there. So I don't necessarily want to do that. So we'll do a little bit of integration here. Maybe we can pull it this way to make it kind of look like it's getting stretched that way. So maybe a little bit too far hanging off of that. You know what I could do? Nah, let's not. Let's not say we did. Maybe we can make these guys actually a little bit smaller. We can just move stuff around quite easily now. All right, so make it look like it's actually stretching and pulling. And we get a little bit of bunching up coming through here. Happy little bunches. Happy little folds. Okay. Let me just make sure this is big enough to go. Yeah, a little bit. My idea for this initially was more of kind of Queen of the Damned kind of feel, character type. Um, More of kind of a like evil um, puppet string, hatching and plotting and scheming type of thing. So I touched on a little bit on this at the end of last stream about character design and what I've personally been trying to do with my designs is typically when I'm working something like this. Um, I'm just trying to talk a little bit low, Aether. Um, Actually, you know what? They're not asleep anymore, so I can go back to regular voice. Anyways, I was touching on this um, a little bit last time towards the end about character design. Um, what I've been trying to do is establish the the overall feel of what the character is before I start the design. Um, so in this particular case, I want it to be kind of like this regal. I would say almost not. I wouldn't say demonic, but definitely um, evil-esque uh, plot, majestic plot schemer kind of thing, kind of feel to the character, right? So when I go and I look at um, like the position of the character, or the elements that go into the design, right? I lean on the elements that are interpreted towards the overall feel that I want the character to have, right? So some of the big decisions I made early in this one was, even though this is technically for video game, um, typically what I like doing for my personal work is I just like creating it in a pose, um, just so that I don't have to go and rig it and do all of that at the end, um, because I'm not a rigger. So for my personal stuff, I typically pose it. But if I was doing this in a production model, it would be probably a posed, and then you know it'd be handled from there. But for this, I really wanted the pose to um, echo the type of personality she is or the type of character she is, and then from there, elements in her design will bolster that type of character, right? So she's kind of laid back, a little bit more kind of plotting and scheming, like um, not necessarily in your face aggressive, but more like laid back power, right? So that's kind of one of the reasons why I chose this type of pose, um, because it's a little bit more kind of that majestic feel. And then some of these design choices of the chains, it was really kind of consciously and subconsciously about uh, like the puppet master, right? Like you have somebody who pulls the threads of her minions or whoever that, or fate or whatever that's going to be, right? So um, I incorporate a lot of these kind of chains and like strings to kind of help with that quote unquote puppeteer feel, right? So you just got this kind of like majestic, evil esque puppeteer, plotting, scheming type of feel to it. So yeah, that's what we should do. We should give her some gold earrings. That's what we should do. um, so yeah, it's those types of things that I've been trying to think about a lot more in my character designs. Um, is kind of just getting the overall feel of or deciding early what the character is and what they do and what you know what their overall personality is, and then incorporating elements of that to into the actual design. Let's do this. Let's append. Append. Let's do maybe insert. Let's do brush insert. Let's grab. Nope, not that one. Actually, you know what? That one might be okay. What is that one? If you have an insert brush loaded up and you hit M as in Mary on the keyboard, you can actually see everything in one window. It's actually quite glorious, if I do say so. It's actually kind of cool. What if I just do this? Aha. See that? So sometimes, depending on how you put down the insert brush, you can change the overall shape of it, right? You see it's much thicker now. As I get out here, it's thinner. You can actually change how the piece looks based on how you draw it out, right? So if I draw it out normally, it looks like this. Looks like that. But in how you drag it out, you can actually change it up a little bit. I do like them. I like it a little bit thinner. Oh, sorry, what did you say about the symmetry? When do you think is the best time inside a character workflow to break the symmetry in a model to make it more believable? Um, here's my philosophy on symmetry. I try to only keep symmetry um, for the little amount as time as possible. Mostly because, um, well, I think it's a little bit different for production work versus personal work. Um, so for personal work, I like breaking symmetry early because it forces me to learn more. Honestly, um, if I have to sculpt one side and sculpt the other side, then it's almost like an exercise for me, right? I actually learn more, I get more out of the work that I'm currently doing. So I typically will break symmetry early for me on my personal stuff. For production, I'll keep symmetry as long as possible. Just because you're under tight deadlines and um, it's easier for riggers to be able to keep things symmetrical as well for weight painting and all that fun shenanigans. Um, so for my personal stuff, I actually try to break symmetry very early. Let's do this. I have not reorientated um, the widget, so I should be able to just do something like that. And everything else is masked, so should be able to just change that thickness pretty quickly. Yeah, exactly. It gets you out of your comfort zone and it forces you um, to work more, honestly, right? And I mean, the whole reason why uh, you do this work is to learn more, right? So if you can get more learning out of the project that you're in without having to spend more time on a different portion of learning for in a different project, optimize your learning time. Absolutely, man. That said, like a lot of this stuff is symmetrical. But what I try to do is I try to be as asymmetrical in my symmetry as possible. Does that make sense? So what I'm doing is I'm looking at my silhouette quite a bit, and all of this stuff, this is all symmetrical except for this. This is the only thing that's not symmetrical for the headpiece, right? So if you are clever enough to keep some things symmetrical, but have a couple of key pieces that are not, then it starts to kind of break that illusion a little bit of the symmetry illusion. So because I purposefully am looking at all rotations of this, the way that I set up these curves, right? Even though they're symmetrical from this side to this side, as soon as you start rotating it, it breaks the symmetry whenever you're looking at it, right? Right? So like this is no longer, you can't tell it's symmetrical. So I'm always looking at my silhouette, and like when I'm rotating things around, I purposefully make things um, that are complicated in the silhouette so that when you're moving around, everything looks different. Even though literally everything on this headpiece is symmetrical except for the feathers. So there's clever ways that you can do it. Um, and just spend time studying from different angles, right? So never have just one angle that you're building from, because it'll if it's a functional piece, it'll never just be that angle, right? You see that back here, this is still really weak back here. It's mostly because I'm never going to show this particular character from the back. If it was a production model, then I would make sure that all of the attention that have given this piece all the way to say here, that it's all the way around as well. So when you are um, building in symmetry, use these tricks to to break the feel of symmetry. Yeah, so depending on your angle, things are different, right? Even this, right? The how far this comes out compared to this, even though this piece is exactly the same as this piece, right? Even these ones are relatively similar. These pieces here, the straight down ones, are relatively similar to these ones, but because they're back here, and you're seeing these ones next to these ones, they look asymmetrical. Ah, thanks, Ryan. So just be clever about your symmetry. And then this having one large piece that is asymmetrical on purpose helps break that illusion. Even these pieces are symmetrical. These ones. So as I say, I like to break symmetry as soon as possible. I go back and prove that I don't break symmetry very often. But it's more about the perception. Hopefully that makes sense. Yes, suffer and retopo. Absolutely. I've made that mistake many times. It's actually not that bad though, because let's say for this piece. All right, so how would I handle this piece in production? What I would do honestly is I would Z remesh the crap out of it, get it as low as possible without having to lose a ton of detail on these edges, and then I would reproject it onto this piece, and then uh, yeah, so Z remesh it down, reproject it onto this piece, and then if I have to go and manually do some retopoing and just do some like quad draw or some manual stuff, I'll just take it into Moto or Maya. But yeah, it. I've been there before where I know what's coming down the pipe for myself. So here's another lesson is that um, don't don't hinder your design by your production. Don't hinder your design by your production. So which means um, don't say, "Oh, I don't want to do this cool thing because it's gonna suck to retopo or it's gonna suck to UV." Like, worry about that stuff later. It's about the design and the overall feel of the character first, and then it's about construction. So, yeah, it's gonna suck later, but if it's a better design, then do it. So I consciously am trying to not think about um, how bad it's gonna suck later. Let's split that guy off. So we'll do split hidden. Grab this dude. Yes. And then we will. Let's make this gold. Gold. Yeah, some people love retopo and UVs. If you look at it, whoa, what did you? Oh, I just rotated. Okay, cool. Ha ha ha. That would suck. Some people love that work. Um, yeah, it's like a puzzle game. Yeah, and sometimes the when you're doing this type of work, it's um, there's different parts of your brain that you're using. In this early phase, like you're doing a lot of design work, so you're thinking really creatively. And sometimes it's nice to just play a measly puzzle game to kind of give your brain that part of your brain a break. The actual feathers up here, I think these ones I would do with cards. So I would spend some dev time coming up with a good alpha card for these, and then I probably would redesign all the placement of these when I'm doing my alpha. Once I have my alpha cards, I probably redesign the placement of all these with that. So I would actually want I get a good single feather built for these ones, and then probably duplicate it and add some variation, and then use those as basically hair cards to put in here, right? But for these ones, I probably, because you're seeing it from the front, you don't want to see just a flat plane on these. You definitely wouldn't. Um, it wouldn't really look good. It wouldn't do justice to how large these are. So I probably would keep these as geo, and then just sculpt the crap out of them, and then bake them down. So maybe we'll take these, we'll mirror those over. Where did they go? Oh, the different. I forgot the head is off by a little bit. we'll do this. So we'll do mirror, mirror, and weld, and then these ones will be in the correct place. And then what I'll do is I'll just take these ones and move those specifically. So the orientation may be the same on these ones, but maybe what I'll do is I'll just kind of offset it just a little bit, so then it's another key asymmetrical, even though the orientations of these are the exact same. You know, maybe just kind of throw them off a little bit, so you can see. I'm wondering. It's gonna crash right now. Watch this. I have not saved any of this. What a great, great way to end. Oh, save on crash. Oh yeah, yeah. Love me some save on crash. It's one of the best damn features I've ever had in any software. Come on, baby. Come back to me. Come back to Papa. Come, give it to me. Give it to me. I think we're okay. Yep, we're good. Do. It's actually right there. All right. So save your work, and that's it for me. Let's save this. She's alive. She lives. All right. That is the stream for me today, ladies and gents. I think I'm again only going to be on once, maybe next month. So I got a really busy month coming up at work. So yeah, that's where I'm going to be. Um, Possibly twice. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. But my plan is to be back 2 weeks from now. So same bat time, same bat channel, and we'll pick up here. I may do some work offline. We'll see. There's just so much more. I need to go in and figure out some of the design ideas that I want to kind of do through the rest. I really want to make this whole seat not suck so bad. And kind of bring it up to this quality, because right now this is the majority of the design. So I may just do some practicing kind of offline, and we'll pick it up next round from there. But again, if you want to go back and watch any of the previous streams on how I got to this part, you can go to ZBrushLive.com and find my artist page, Brendon Isaiah Bengtson. And you can go back and watch other projects as well. I think I have like 50 some odd streams on there. So pick and choose. You get to choose. It's all about options. All right. And stay tuned. I think we got Tony coming up later today. I forgot who's coming up later today, but there's somebody else. And they're awesome. I forgot who it was. Don't hate me. You can also check out the Pixelogic YouTube channel for everybody's replays on there. If you're not following the Pixelogic Twitch channel here, I highly suggest giving it a follow and seeing some of the other artists that are there. If you would like to follow me on my own personal channel, I do much more than just ZBrush on my channel. When I get a chance to, I do Substance Painter, I do Retopo, I do Marvelous Designer, I do rendering in Marmoset, and lots of other stuff outside of the Pixelogic ZBrush bubble. So yeah, feel free to give me a follow there if you would like to. And hope you guys had fun. I hope you guys learned a couple things. But most of all, I hope you were inspired to go make your own cool stuff. So do it. Get out there and make some cool shit and share it. Be active. Get back to your community. All right, guys and gals. I'll see you soon. Yeah, here I'll put the link in chat real quick to mine. So www.twitch.tv/Brendon Isaiah Bengtson. That should be it. Copy and paste is your friend. All right. We'll see you guys soon. Have a great weekend and stay safe out there. It's a crazy world. All right. Bye.